Number 9. Mr. Humphreys is a blank supporter of the governor, whom he blanks despite repeated proofs that the multi-term politician has been embezzling money from the state for years. So, Mr. Humphreys is a blank supporter of the governor. We need to look at the second portion to get a sense of how Mr. Humphreys supports him. And it says, whom he. Now, when you see the word whom, it means that it's describing the governor. So he's a supporter of the governor whom he blanks despite. So we have despite, which is our contrast trigger. Despite repeated proofs that the multi-term politician has been embezzling money from the state for years. So the second blank is probably something like support. So whom he supports, he being Mr. Humphreys, even though there's all this proof that the guy is shady and he's embezzling money. So this is going to be supports. And then in terms of the type of supporter that Mr. Humphreys is, he's clearly a long-term, very strong supporter. So this is strong, long-term, almost someone who would support him no matter what he did. So now looking at these answer choices, we have adulate. Adulate, it's kind of a mystery word for most people, but it has the same root as adore, and adore goes along nicely with support. So that gets a nice check. Then we have venerate, and venere in Italian means honor. And the English form of that word, venerate, means to honor or hold in very high regard, which also goes aligned with support as well. Then we get to solicit. Now, we talked about solicitation in some of the other lessons, and to solicit means to go and ask for something. So when you see those signs on doors of restaurants that say no soliciting, they don't want you coming in and trying to sell them something. So Mr. Humphreys is supporting him. He's not soliciting him. So that's the wrong fit here. Then D says espouses. So that is probably something that you're not really sure of. So that gets a question mark. And then censure. Censure is a fantastic word which we will get to, but I'm guessing that you don't know this form. But you might be confused and think that you know this form. So there's a massive difference between censor and censure. Censor, which you might have seen on some explicit music that you may have purchased, where it says censored or uncensored, depending upon your preference, means to refrain from publication or distribution. So if something is censored, it means that something is cut out because it was inappropriate. That's this one. Now, censure is a totally different word, and it means to criticize. So now that you know that that means to criticize, it definitely doesn't go along with support, so now we get rid of that one. So now looking at A, B, and D for the first blank. We have recondite for A, and that I'm sure is a mystery. B is inveterate, which I'm sure is also a mystery. And D is plausible. So plausible doesn't really fit in with strong or long term, so that we can actually get rid of. So at this point, you're down to a question mark check, and what you need to do is take a guess. As I've told you before, at this point, you just go with the one that has the harder word. So I'm not sure which one you would pick out as the harder word, but the answer is actually B. Recondite actually means something extremely profound. So that doesn't really go along with something strong or long term. So B in this case is your best bet.